Hello guys, welcome to Filament Daily. Today I want to talk about additional backend validation for Filament for the forms, for the dynamic forms where you show or hide some elements but don't additionally check the data after the form is submitted. And this is the error I've done myself. Someone pointed that out in the comment, so I'm shooting a follow-up with important fix and a lesson to both myself and you guys. So I've published a video about reservation form with dynamic elements, so you choose the date and then the start time slots are available or not. And then I received this comment about a security problem that you can add custom date or custom hour and it's not validated on the backend after the form is saved. So in this video, I will show you how to do that. In kind of a nasty, almost hacky way, you can transform the HTML source in the browser to pass the illegal data, and then show you how to add that additional validation for dynamic forms. And this is our form. To make it even more valuable, I will show the public form as an example that you can use Filament forms outside of Filament admin panel as a Livewire component. So this is a Livewire component with Filament form inside. But the syntax for the form inputs doesn't really change. So we choose the date. In this case, I've chosen June 2nd. If I choose June 3rd, for example, there are tracks. In this case, it's a reservation for racing tracks, but it could be doctor appointments for different doctor names or whatever. And then if we fill in that form for the June 3rd, remember that there's track 1 at 9 a.m. available. We submit. Reservation created, great. But now if we try to submit for the same date another track, you will see that for June 3rd, the track for 9 a.m. is not available anymore. So that was the functionality in that video. I will link that video in the description below if you haven't seen that one. But basically, in the Filament form, we have date picker, live, and then radio options are dynamic with service, class, and method. So that works. But now I will show you how to kind of hack the system by changing that. So inspect, and then in the browser there's input type radio with the value of 1-10, which means track 1 and 10 a.m. And if you are smart enough, you can double click and edit that to 109. You hit enter, you click that checkbox, and then you submit the form. And now guess what will be saved in the database, 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. The correct answer is 9 a.m. because we have edited that in the browser. So you can see two reservations for track number 1 at 9 a.m., which is against the validation rule. So the validation rule was applied visually by not showing that radio button, but someone could manipulate the values of those radio buttons to still pass in whatever data they want. Or there could be another case of simultaneously a few people filling in the same form and the first person sees that time slot as available, but by the time they finish the form, someone else is faster taking that time slot which is not available anymore for the first person. So additional validation is needed anyway. And this is the pull request we've made for that repository. We've been doing that for Filament Examples projects. So by purchasing filamentexamples.com, you get the access to the repository, which will include all the future updates and fixes. And this is the main code. You can add validation rules like this with this syntax in your form fields. In this case, it's reservation form. By the way, I will show you this is extends component. This is in app Livewire, but implements has form from Filament. That's why the syntax looks like Filament. Form method with all the familiar radio buttons, date pickers, and stuff like that. And now I will paste that code. We need to also add use closure at the top to make it not underlined by PHP Storm. And that should be good. So it's a custom validation rule calling the same service again. And if we don't see the option as available, sorry, time slot is already unavailable. One more typo to fix here, comma is not needed. And let's try to fill in the form again. I choose the June 3rd again. Track with 9 a.m. is not available, but I'm still doing that nasty thing of changing that value to 1-09. Enter. I tick that radio button. I submit the form, and now we have the validation error here. So the backend validation now is in action. And this is just one example of backend validation. The general message here, the general idea of this video is if you rely on some database check for some fields while presenting the form, you need to double check the same condition while submitting the form. Because during that time slots, the conditions may change, the database data may change, and just in general on the web, you need to validate things in two places, on the front front end and on the back end. What do you think about this example? Would you have done anything differently? As usual, let's discuss in the comments below. And if you want the full code of that full example of reservation public form in the Filament examples list, it's at the very bottom because it was one of the first ones we actually released in public, appointment system with public form. I will link that one in the description below. That's it for this time, and see you guys in other videos.